What kind of impact can one person have on 5 different families over the years? 5 families, 5 deaths, one common thread. London, 1895, Scotland Yard. Detective Inspector James Fletcher sat at his desk. Before him lay 5 files, 5 different cases, and all of them were death cases. But something felt strange. Fletcher opened the first file, 1875, Lady Catherine Ashton, 60 years old, Thornfield House. Cause of death, natural causes, old age, organ failure. Second file, 1880, Lord Edmund Harrington, 65 years old, Harrington Manor. Cause of death, pneumonia, natural. Third file, 1885, Mrs. Eleanor Pembroke, 58 years old, Pembroke Hall. Cause of death, heart attack, natural. Fourth file, 1890, Colonel Richard Westfield, 70 years old, Westfield Estate. Cause of death, stroke, natural. Fifth file, 1894, Lady Victoria Blackwood, 62 years old, Blackwood Manor. Cause of death, pneumonia, natural. 5 deaths, all natural, all elderly aristocrats, nothing suspicious. But Fletcher had noticed one detail. In all 5 cases, the same name appeared in the will, a small inheritance between £50 and £200 left to the servant, and in all 5 cases the same servant, Martha Blackwood. Fletcher looked at the files again. Martha Blackwood. She had worked in all 5 houses. She had been there before all 5 deaths. Her name was in all 5 wills. Could it be a coincidence? What kind of coincidence was this? Fletcher stood up. He called the commissioners. He told them to find Martha Blackwood. He said he wanted to question her. 2 days later, Martha was brought in. She was 55 years old, a middle-aged woman, plain grey dress, white bonnet, calm face, quiet demeanour, the perfect servant. Fletcher looked at her. Could this woman have killed 5 people? Fletcher asked. Martha Blackwood, I know you worked in 5 different houses. 5 of your employers died. You have money in each of their wills. Can you explain? Martha looked silently. She didn't smile. She wasn't afraid. She just looked. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm, emotionless. Yes, she said. I worked in 5 houses. 5 employers died. They all left me money. They all deserved it. Fletcher was shocked. Deserved it? What did she mean? Martha continued. They treated me badly, she said. Lady Catherine used to slap me. Lord Edmund would starve me. Mrs. Eleanor called me a thief. Colonel Westfield harassed me. Lady Victoria treated me like a dog. They were all rich. They were all powerful. They all crushed me. I simply served justice. Fletcher couldn't breathe. What was this woman saying? Fletcher asked. Are you saying you killed them? Martha answered. Yes, I killed all 5 of them. Slowly, with arsenic. And no one noticed. Everyone thought it was natural death. 25 years. 5 murders. It was magnificent. The room fell silent. Martha Blackwood was an ordinary servant, and she had killed 5 aristocrats for 25 years, and no one had noticed. An invisible woman, an invisible killer, the perfect servant, the perfect crime. How did Martha Blackwood kill 5 people? How did no one suspect? How did she hide it for 25 years? And most importantly, why? Just bad treatment or something else? We had to go back to 1870, to Martha's first job, to her first murder. The story began there. Martha Blackwood was 30 years old. She was an experienced servant. She had been working for 15 years, in different houses, in different families. She was a good servant, quiet, hard-working, uncomplaining. Employers loved her. Her references were perfect. In 1870, she found a new job, Thornfield House, in Yorkshire, a large manor, the home of Lord and Lady Ashton. Martha knocked on the door. The head servant, Mrs. Davies, opened the door. She let Martha in. She explained the rules. Thornfield House was a strict household. The rules were harsh. Servants would wake at 5 in the morning. They would work until 10 at night. Meal break was 15 minutes. Talking was forbidden. Smiling was forbidden. Lady Catherine Ashton ran the household. She was 60 years old, a stern woman. She showed no mercy to servants. Martha met Lady Catherine on her first day. Lady Catherine looked at Martha, looked her up and down. Did she like her? Did she not? It wasn't clear. Lady Catherine repeated the rules. Silence, obedience, perfection. No mistakes, no complaints. Martha said she understood. Yes, madam, she said. I understand. Lady Catherine gave her the first task. Clean the entire library, she said. The books are covered in dust. Finish before noon. Martha set to work. The library was huge. Thousands of books. Martha was alone. Finishing before noon was impossible. But Martha worked. She didn't rest. She didn't eat. She didn't even drink water. At noon, Lady Catherine came. She looked at the library. It wasn't finished yet. Lady Catherine became angry. Are you lazy? She asked. Can't you do your job? Martha apologized. She asked for more time. She said she could finish it. Lady Catherine didn't listen. She raised her hand. She slapped Martha across the face. The sound echoed. Martha's cheek reddened. It hurt, but Martha made no sound. She didn't cry. She just bowed her head. Lady Catherine shouted, You've lost your dinner, she said. Punishment. Perhaps if you're hungry, you'll work faster. Then she left. Martha was alone. Her cheek still hurt. Her stomach was hungry. But more importantly, her heart was broken. She had been a servant for 15 years. For 15 years she had endured such treatment. Slaps, insults, starvation. Always like this. Martha continued cleaning the library, but something had changed. Anger. There was anger inside her. Growing anger. 5 years passed. Martha worked at Thornfield House. Every day was the same. 5 in the morning, 10 at night. No rest, little food, low wages, and Lady Catherine, bad treatment every day. Sometimes slaps, sometimes insults, sometimes punishment, sometimes just a look. Cold, degrading looks. Martha accepted it silently. What could she do? She was a servant. She was powerless. She was poor. She could quit. But where would she go? Other houses were the same. The wealthy were all the same. Martha could endure. She had to endure. But the anger inside her grew. Every slap, every insult, every night she went hungry. The anger accumulated inside her. In 1874, something happened. Martha was working in the kitchen. The cook was making soup. Martha was cutting vegetables. Lady Catherine came to the kitchen. She tasted the soup. She didn't like it. No salt, she said. Terrible. The cook apologized. She said she would add salt. Lady Catherine said no. You can't do it, she said. Let Martha do it. Perhaps she can succeed. Martha added salt to the soup. She stirred it. Lady Catherine tasted it again. Still terrible, she said. You servants can't do anything right. Then she poured the soup bowl over Martha. Hot soup. It soaked Martha's dress. It burned her skin. Martha screamed in pain. Lady Catherine laughed. Perhaps hot soup will make you faster, she said. Then she left. Martha stood there. Her dress was wet. Her skin was burned. She was crying. The cook helped. She cleaned Martha, applied ointment. But something inside Martha broke. Enough. Enough already. Lady Catherine didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve to live. Martha made a decision. Lady Catherine had to die. Martha thought about the plan. Committing murder wasn't easy. There was a risk of being caught. She could be executed. But Martha was clever. She made a careful plan. First, the method. How would she kill her? Knife? No. There would be blood. Evidence would remain. Strangulation? No. There would be a struggle. Marks would remain. Poison? Yes. Poison was perfect. Which poison? Martha researched. She read books in the library, medical books, about poison, arsenic, the perfect poison. It had no taste. It had no smell. It was slow-acting. It would look like natural illness. But where would she get it, Martha thought. Arsenic was in rat poison. It was used in gardening. Thornfield House's garden had rat poison. The gardener used it. It was in a locked cupboard. Martha found the key. One night she stole it. She opened the cupboard. She took a small bottle, arsenic, white powder. Then she put the key back. No one noticed. Martha hid the poison in her room, under the bed, in a small box. She was ready. Now how would she administer it? Martha didn't prepare Lady Catherine's meals. The cook did that. But Martha served tea. Every morning Lady Catherine drank tea. Martha would bring the tray. Tea, coffee with milk, biscuits. Perfect opportunity. But there was a problem. If Martha gave too much at once, Lady Catherine would die immediately. It would raise suspicion. The doctor would investigate. The poison would be found. Martha would be caught. No, Martha had to be clever. She had to give it slowly, small doses, over months. Lady Catherine would sicken gradually. The doctor would think it was old age. Organ failure? No one would suspect. Perfect plan, Martha began. February 1875. Martha gave the first dose. Morning. She prepared Lady Catherine's tea. She added the arsenic. Very little. A pinch. She stirred it. It was invisible. She took the tray to Lady Catherine. Lady Catherine drank the tea. She noticed nothing. Martha waited. Would Lady Catherine get sick? Would she die immediately? No. Nothing happened. The dose was too small. Good. Martha continued every day. Every morning a pinch, in the tea. No one saw. No one noticed. March. Lady Catherine became slightly ill. Nausea, headache, fatigue. The doctor came. He examined her. Flu, he said. Rest is needed. Lady Catherine stayed in bed. Martha continued bringing tea. Continued giving arsenic. April. Lady Catherine's condition worsened. More nausea, diarrhea, weight loss. The doctor came again. He looked concerned. He did more tests. Result: organ failure, old age, no treatment, May. Lady Catherine became very weak. She couldn't get out of bed. She couldn't eat. She could only drink tea. Martha brought the tea every day. Gave arsenic. Waited patiently. June. Lady Catherine lay on her deathbed. The doctor was hopeless. Her family waited by her side. Martha's normal continued. She did her duty. Perfect servant. No one suspected. On the last day of June, Lady Catherine died. 60 years old. Natural causes. Organ failure. Old age. The doctor wrote the death certificate. Natural death. No investigation. A funeral was held. A small ceremony. Family, friends, servants. Martha attended. She cried. Fake tears. No one noticed. A week later they read the will. Lord Ashton inherited. The house, the lands, the money. But the will had one more clause. Lady Catherine had left small gifts to the servants, a sign of kindness. To Martha Blackwood, £50. Everyone was surprised. £50 was a lot of money. Too much for a servant. But no one suspected. They thought it was Lady Catherine's final kindness. Perhaps she had regretted before dying. Perhaps she felt bad for treating Martha poorly. Martha took the money. She thanked them. She appeared humble. 2 weeks later, Martha said she was leaving. She said she needed to return to her family. Lord Ashton understood. He wrote a reference letter. Martha was a perfect servant, he wrote. Hardworking, quiet, reliable. Martha left with £50 and a perfect reference. The first murder was complete. It was the perfect crime. No one knew she was a killer. Martha smiled. No one knew. No one had suspected. And Martha noticed something. The anger had decreased. Lady Catherine's death had been satisfying. Perhaps more was needed. Perhaps other aristocrats deserved to die too. Martha started a new job, a new family, a new victim. Martha had committed the first murder. No one had noticed. Perfect crime. But this was just the beginning. 4 more murders were coming. 4 more aristocrats would die. Would Martha stop or would she continue? And would no one really notice? For 25 years. Was the second murder starting? Martha found a new job. Harrington Manor in London, a large house. Lord Edmund Harrington's home. Martha showed her reference letter from Lord Ashton, perfect servant. Lord Edmund hired Martha. Starting wage, £20 per year. It was low, but Martha accepted. Lord Edmund was 65 years old, a widowed man. His wife had died 5 years ago. He lived alone with only servants in the house. Lord Edmund was miserly, very miserly. He gave servants minimum wages. He restricted meals. He saved on coal. On winter days the house was cold. Servants shivered. Lord Edmund didn't care. Coal is expensive, he would say. Wear thick clothes. Meals were scarce. Servants were hungry. Lord Edmund didn't care. You don't deserve much food, he would say. Martha worked for 4 years, silently, without complaint. But the anger inside her grew again. In 1880, Martha decided, Lord Edmund had to die too. Martha would use the same plan. Arsenic. Slowly, like natural death. But this time it was easier. Martha prepared Lord Edmund's food. There was no cook. Lord Edmund had fired the cook to save money. Martha did both cleaning and cooking. Perfect opportunity. Martha added arsenic to Lord Edmund's food. Every day, soup, meat, bread, tea, in everything. Very little. Invisible, tasteless, odourless. It continued the same way. Lord Edmund noticed nothing. February. Lord Edmund became slightly ill, stomach pain, nausea. The doctor came. Flu, he said. Normal. Lord Edmund rested in bed. Martha brought his meals, continued giving arsenic. March. Lord Edmund got worse. Cough, shortness of breath, weight loss. The doctor became concerned. Could be pneumonia, he said. Dangerous for elderly people. Lord Edmund took medicine. But he didn't improve, because the problem wasn't pneumonia, it was arsenic poisoning. April. Lord Edmund became very weak. He couldn't walk, he couldn't speak. Martha was caring for him. Perfect servant. Devoted. Everyone praised Martha. You're taking such good care of poor Lord Edmund, they would say. Martha smiled. She was poisoning him, but no one knew. May. Lord Edmund died, 65 years old, pneumonia, natural death. The doctor wrote the death certificate. Again, no suspicion. A funeral was held. Lord Edmund was buried. They read the will. Lord Edmund's son inherited. But the will contained one more clause. To the servant Martha Blackwood, £75. The son was surprised. Too much, he said. But it was the will. It couldn't be changed. Martha took the money. She thanked them. 2 weeks later she left the job. She received a reference letter. Perfect servant, loyal, reliable. The second murder was complete. Martha had now saved £125. A lot of money for a servant, and 2 perfect references. Finding work was very easy. Martha started her third job. 2 murders. 2 perfect crimes. No one suspected. Martha was becoming emotionally numb. The first murder had been difficult. The second was easier. How easy would the third be? Would Martha stop, or would she continue? The anger was still inside her. The wealthy still treated servants badly. Martha was still taking revenge. The third victim was waiting. Martha found her third job. Pembroke Hall, in Yorkshire, a large but old manor. Mrs. Eleanor Pembroke ran the household. She was 58 years old, a widowed woman. Her husband had died 3 years ago. She lived alone. Mrs. Eleanor was a paranoid woman. She suspected everyone, especially servants. Martha started work. On the first day, Mrs. Eleanor explained the rules. Don't touch anything, she said. Nothing should go missing. I count everything. If anything is missing, you're the culprit. Martha said she understood. The first week passed without problems. Martha cleaned, she cooked, she worked silently. The second week, Mrs. Eleanor lost a silver spoon. A small spoon. Worthless. Mrs. Eleanor went mad. You stole the spoon, she said to Martha. Thief. Martha said she didn't steal it. She said she didn't see it. Mrs. Eleanor didn't believe her. I'm going to search your room, she said. She searched Martha's room. The spoon wasn't there, because Martha hadn't stolen it. But Mrs. Eleanor didn't apologize. Maybe you didn't steal this time, she said. But I'll be watching. Martha was angry. She had been accused of being a thief without cause. 4 years passed. Martha worked at Pembroke Hall. Something went missing every month. A spoon, a handkerchief, a button, small things. Mrs. Eleanor accused Martha every time. Thief. Liar. Martha said she was innocent every time. Mrs. Eleanor never believed her. She searched Martha's room dozens of times. She never found anything, because Martha wasn't stealing. The missing items were Mrs. Eleanor's paranoia, forgetfulness. But she always blamed Martha. In 1885, Martha couldn't take it anymore. Mrs. Eleanor had to die too. Martha made her plan. Arsenic again, slow again. She added it to Mrs. Eleanor's tea. Every morning. Small doses. February. Mrs. Eleanor became ill. Heart palpitations, chest pain. The doctor came. Heart problems, he said. Old age. Rest is necessary. March. Mrs. Eleanor got worse. She couldn't breathe. She was losing weight. The doctor became concerned. Heart failure, he said. Dangerous. April. Mrs. Eleanor died. 58 years old. Heart attack. Natural death. The doctor wrote the death certificate. No suspicion. A funeral was held. Mrs. Eleanor's distant relative inherited. The will was read. To the servant Martha Blackwood, £100. The relative was surprised. Mrs. Eleanor didn't like servants. Why had she left money? But it was the will. It couldn't be changed. Martha took the money. She left the job. She received a reference. The third murder was complete. Martha had now saved £225. She could be considered wealthy, but she didn't stop. More was needed. She started her fourth job. 3 murders, 3 perfect crimes. 15 years had passed. Martha had become emotionally numb. There was no guilt anymore, just cold calculation. Wealthy aristocrats treated servants badly. Martha punished them. Simple. But 2 more murders remained, and the last one would create a pattern that would catch Scotland Yard's attention. Did Martha know this? Did she care? The 4th victim was waiting. Martha started her 4th job. Westfield Estate, near London. A military family's home. Colonel Richard Westfield was a retired soldier. He was 70 years old, widowed, alone. Martha started work. The first days were normal. The colonel was quiet, not rude. Martha felt comfortable. But a week later, something happened. Martha was cleaning the colonel's room. The colonel entered. He looked at Martha. A strange look. He approached. Too close. Martha backed away. The colonel put his hand on Martha's arm. He squeezed. "You're a beautiful woman," he said. "Are you alone?" Martha was uncomfortable. "Yes, sir," she said. "But I'm working, if you'll excuse me." The colonel didn't let go. "Let's chat a bit," he said. Martha gently pulled her hand away. "I need to work, sir," she said. "We can talk later." The colonel became angry. "Are you saying no to me?" he said. "I'm your master." Martha was frightened. She apologized. She walked toward the door. The colonel released her, but he warned her. "Don't say no to me again," he said. Martha left the room. Her heart was beating very fast. 4 years passed. The colonel didn't leave Martha alone. He approached every day. He touched. He said inappropriate things. Martha avoided him, but there was nowhere to escape. She was in the house. The colonel was everywhere. One day the colonel cornered Martha in the library. He tried to kiss her. Martha pushed him away. "No, sir," she said. "Please." The colonel laughed. "Are you shy?" he said. "But you'll like it." Martha ran. She locked herself in her room. But the next day the colonel tried again, and the next day, and the next day again. Martha couldn't endure it. In 1889, Martha decided Colonel Westfield had to die. It wasn't just bad treatment, it was harassment. It was attempted rape. The colonel deserved to die. Martha made her plan. Arsenic. Again. She added it to the colonel's evening whiskey. Every night, small doses, January. The colonel became ill. Dizziness, weakness. The doctor came. Old age, he said. Normal. February. The colonel lost his balance. He fell. He hit his head. The doctor became concerned. Could be a stroke, he said. Brain problem. March. The colonel died. 70 years old. Stroke. Natural death. The doctor wrote the death certificate. A funeral was held. The colonel's nephew inherited. The will was read. To the servant Martha Blackwood, £125. The nephew didn't object. Uncle was a wealthy man. £125 was insignificant. Martha took the money. She left the job. She received a reference. The 4th murder was complete. Martha had now saved £350. She was a very wealthy servant, but she didn't stop. One more. One last murder. She started her 5th job, 4 murders, 20 years. No one noticed. Martha was an invisible killer, a servant, insignificant, quiet, but deadly. The 5th murder was coming, the last murder. But this time something would change. This time the pattern would be noticed. Martha's perfect crimes would end. But not yet. One more murder first. Martha found her 5th job. Ironically, the house was called Blackwood Manor, the same as Martha's surname. Fate, Coincidence? Lady Victoria Blackwood ran the household. She was 62 years old, a wealthy widow. Martha started work. From the first day, Lady Victoria was terrible. She treated Martha like a dog. "Eat on the floor," she said. "The table is not for servants." Martha ate on the floor. Lady Victoria shouted at Martha. "Stupid," she said. "Lazy, worthless." Martha accepted it silently. But the anger inside her exploded. Lady Victoria was the worst yet. Martha decided immediately she wouldn't wait a year. 6 months would be enough. Lady Victoria deserved the most painful death. Martha used arsenic, but this time larger doses, faster death. In Lady Victoria's every meal, every tea, every morning, every evening, February. Lady Victoria got sick, severe nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. The doctor came. "Stomach flu," he said. "March." Lady Victoria got worse. Her hair was falling out. Her nails were cracking. The doctor was surprised. "Strange," he said. "More tests needed." April. Tests came back. Abnormal, but no definite diagnosis. The doctor was suspicious. "Something's wrong," he said, "but I don't know what." May. Lady Victoria suffered greatly. Pain, tremors, hallucinations. June. Lady Victoria went mad. She was screaming. She saw imaginary things. July. Lady Victoria died, 62 years old, pneumonia, official cause of death. But the doctor was suspicious. He wrote the death certificate, but he was confused. A funeral was held. Lady Victoria's distant relative inherited. The will was read. To the servant Martha Blackwood, £200. The largest inheritance, the largest yet. The relative was surprised. "Too much," he said. The lawyer explained. Lady Victoria had written in the will, "Martha took good care of me. She was by my side in my final days. She deserves it." Irony. Lady Victoria didn't know Martha had killed her. Martha took the money, she left the job. The 5th murder was complete. Martha had now saved £550. A fortune. Martha could retire. She could buy a small house. She could live comfortably. And she decided to retire. 5 murders were enough. It was time to stop. But fate had other plans. January 1895 at Scotland Yard. Inspector James Fletcher was reviewing random files. Unsolved cases. Old deaths. Something caught his attention. 5 cases. 5 aristocrats. 5 natural deaths. But the same name in all their wills. Martha Blackwood. Fletcher placed the files side by side and began examining them. Lady Catherine Ashton. Servant, Martha Blackwood. Inheritance, £50. Lord Edmund Harrington. Servant, Martha Blackwood. Inheritance, £75. Mrs. Eleanor Pembroke. Servant, Martha Blackwood. Inheritance, £100. Colonel Richard Westfield. Servant, Martha Blackwood. Inheritance, £125. Lady Victoria Blackwood. Servant, Martha Blackwood. Inheritance, £200. 5 cases, 5 inheritances, increasing amounts, the same servant. It couldn't be a coincidence. Fletcher began searching for Martha Blackwood. February 1895. Martha was living in a small house in London. She had retired. There was a knock at the door. Martha opened it. 2 police officers stood there. Inspector Fletcher was behind them. "Martha Blackwood," said Fletcher, "we need to speak with you." Martha knew what it was about. Her face didn't change. She remained calm. "Yes, sir," she said. "Please come in." She was taken to Scotland Yard. She was questioned. Fletcher showed her the files. 5 cases, 5 inheritances. "Can you explain?" he said. Martha looked silently, for a long time. Then she spoke. "Yes," she said. "I killed all 5 of them." Fletcher was shocked. He didn't expect her to confess so easily. "Why?" he asked. Martha answered. "They treated me badly, all of them. Slapping, starvation, calling me a thief, harassment, treating me like a dog. I was a servant for 25 years. I was crushed for 25 years. I was invisible, worthless. I simply served justice. They deserved to die." Fletcher listened. He was shocked. Martha continued. "How many more Marthas are there?" she said. "How many invisible women? How many crushed servants? I was just one who acted. Are others doing it too? I don't know, but they should. The wealthy shouldn't go unpunished. Martha was arrested. She confessed to 5 murders, but she wasn't sorry. She had no guilt, just cold calculation, just justice. Martha would be tried in court. Would she be found guilty? Would she be executed? And how would society receive Martha? A monster or a hero? The trial was beginning. March 1895. Old Bailey Courthouse, London. Martha Blackwood was on trial. She was charged with 5 murders. The courtroom was full. Journalists, the public, aristocrats, servants. Everyone wanted to see Martha, the serial killer servant. Martha sat in the defendant's chair, calm, emotionless, 55 years old, plain grey dress, white bonnet. She looked ordinary. No one would think she was a killer. The jury was selected, 12 men, all middle class, all serious, the judge began. The charges were read: 5 murders, 5 aristocrats, 1875 to 1894. How do you plead? The judge asked Martha. Martha stood up. Guilty, she said. The courtroom was shocked. She didn't deny it. She made no defense, just guilty. The judge continued. Can you explain why you did it? Martha spoke. Martha said this. I was a servant for 25 years. I worked in 5 different houses, 5 different families. They were all wealthy. They were all aristocrats. They were all powerful. And they all treated me badly. Lady Catherine Ashton used to slap me. She would give me 2 meals a day, sometimes 1 meal, sometimes none. She treated me like a dog. Lord Edmund Harrington was miserly. He wouldn't give coal on winter days. I shivered. I froze. He didn't care. Mrs. Eleanor Pembroke was paranoid. When anything went missing, she would accuse me. She called me a thief. She searched my room 10 times. She never found anything, but she never apologized. Colonel Richard Westfield harassed me for 4 years. Every day, he touched me. He tried to kiss me. He wanted more. I said no. He didn't listen. Lady Victoria Blackwood treated me like a dog. Eat on the floor, she said. She called me stupid. She called me worthless. They all treated me badly, because I was a servant, because I was poor, because I was powerless. I was invisible. To them, I wasn't a person. I was a tool. I was an object. For 25 years I accepted it, silently, without complaint. But one day I said enough. They deserved to die. All of them. I served justice. The courtroom was silent. Everyone was listening. Martha continued. I'm not sorry. If I did it again, I would do it again. How many more Marthas are there? How many servants are being crushed? How many invisible women are suffering? Perhaps only I took action. But others must be thinking about it. The wealthy should watch out. Invisible people are no longer invisible. Martha sat down. The jury deliberated. 2 hours. They returned. The judge asked, What is your verdict? The jury foreman stood up. Guilty, he said. Guilty of 5 murders. Martha felt nothing. She had expected this. The judge gave the sentence, death, by hanging. Martha accepted it. She bowed her head. The court was over. Prison and execution, April to May 1895. Martha stayed in prison 1 month, waiting for execution day. Journalists requested interviews. Martha accepted some. One journalist asked, Are you sorry? Martha answered. No. They deserve to die, the journalist asked. What would you have done if there had been no victims? Martha answered. I would have lived a normal life. I would have married. I would have had children. I would have been happy. But they crushed me, so I killed them. Simple. May 1895, execution day. Martha was calm. She wasn't afraid. She was ready. She climbed the gallows. The rope was placed around her neck. She spoke her last words. Invisible women are no longer invisible, she said. Then the button was pressed. The trapdoor opened. Martha Blackwood died, 55 years old, responsible for 5 murders, 25 years of perfect crimes. It ended. Martha died. Was justice served? Or was Martha right? Did the victims truly deserve to die? What did Victorian society think? Was Martha a monster or a hero? The epilogue will answer. Martha's execution made headlines in all newspapers. The Times. Serial killer servant executed, killed 5 aristocrats. Daily Telegraph. The invisible killer. The story of Martha Blackwood. The Guardian, servant rebellion, one woman's revenge. The newspapers told Martha's story. 5 murders, 25 years, arsenic, perfect crimes. The public was shocked. Were servants untrustworthy? Were there killers in their homes? Aristocrats were frightened. They looked at their servants with suspicion. But some people applauded Martha. Society was divided. One group saw Martha as a monster, serial killer, cold-blooded. She deserved execution. But another group understood Martha, a crushed woman. She had taken revenge. The victims were bad. Perhaps they deserved it, especially servants. Many servants read Martha's story. They saw themselves. They too had been slapped, starved, called thieves, harassed. Martha was not alone. One servant wrote a letter to a newspaper. "I don't condemn Martha Blackwood. I understand her. I suffered the same pain. I didn't kill, but I thought about it. How many more servants are thinking? How many will take action?" The wealthy should watch out. We are invisible, but we exist. And Martha taught us something. We are not powerless. Invisibility can be a power. The letter was published. It became a scandal. Aristocrats panicked. Martha's story triggered something. The Victorian servant system began to be questioned. Newspapers investigated. Servants' working conditions were examined. The results were shocking. Servants worked 16 hours a day. Wages were very low. Food was restricted. There were no holidays. Physical punishment was common. Slaps, beatings, starvation. Harassment was common. Masters harassed servants. No one could complain. They were powerless. Society debated. Was this fair? Was it humane? Calls for reform began. In 1897, the first laws came. Servant rights, minimum wage, maximum working hours, protection against physical punishment. Small steps, but a beginning. Martha's legacy. Her death was not in vain. After Martha, something strange happened. Within 5 years, 13 similar cases. 13 aristocrats died. All elderly, all from natural causes. All had left small inheritances to servants. Scotland Yard investigated, but they found no evidence. Arsenic, other poison, or truly natural death. No one could know, but detectives suspected. There were other Marthas, invisible killers. Martha had inspired them. She had shown the method. Servants were no longer powerless. They could be invisible, but they could be deadly. The wealthy had to be careful now. Martha's grave, 1900, London. Poor cemetery. Martha's grave was simple, small stone, simple inscription. Martha Blackwood, 1840 to 1895. They didn't write anything else. Didn't say serial killer, didn't say servant, just name, just dates. But sometimes someone would visit, leave flowers. No one knew who they were, but it could be guessed. Servants, invisible women. They paid respect to Martha. She wasn't a monster to them. A hero. The first to rebel. The first to fight back. Martha Blackwood. Invisible killer. Perfect servant. She went down in history. Martha's story was tragic. She killed 5 people. She was guilty. She was executed. But why did she kill? Bad treatment. Oppression. Invisibility. Victorian society created Martha. Systematically oppressed. Powerless. Invisible. Martha fought back. With the wrong method. With murder. But she fought back. And she changed something. Society saw servants. For the first time, they realized they were people. Reform began. Slowly, but it began. Martha's legacy. 5 murders, but reforms that saved thousands of servants. Good or bad. Unknown, but not forgotten. Martha Blackwood. Invisible killer. Forever. In Victorian England, servants were invisible. They worked in homes, but they weren't seen as human. Martha Blackwood was a servant for 25 years. She was oppressed for 25 years. Slapped. Starved. Harassed. And one day she said enough. She killed 5 aristocrats, slowly, with arsenic. No one noticed. 25 years of perfect crime. Then she was caught. She was executed. But she wasn't sorry. They deserved to die, she said. Was she right? The victims were truly bad people, but can murder be justified? Victorian society asked this question. They found no answer. But something changed. Servants became visible. Reform began. Martha's legacy. Dark but effective. Today, invisible people still exist. Domestic workers, cleaners, caregivers. How do we treat them? As humans or as tools? Martha's story is a warning. Invisible people can be deadly. Oppression eventually turns to rebellion. Justice is not always legal. Sometimes it is dark. Martha Blackwood proved it. 5 murders, 25 years, perfect crimes, and she will be remembered forever. Invisible killer, perfect servant.